This week in games, GTA 6 developers get fired for talking to union reps, Square Enix wants to replace everybody with AI, and BioWare says Mass Effect is still coming. This is the Two Penny Gamescast. What's poppin', players? Welcome back to the Two Penny Gamescast, episode 274. I am your host, Tavin Bothel, here with my good friend and co-host. Say hello to the people, Connor Elliott.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you? Connor, we're here once again. How has your week been, friend?
It's been great, Tavin. I've been playing Dark Souls all week.
Ooh.
It's Tavin. It's really, it's gotten me hooked.
I checked earlier. Review for
Dark
that
Souls games
coming.
do that.
Oh God, we got 3 weeks, and then we have a review for that. So make sure you're liking and subscribing because we're playing it for our video game book club, the Two Penny Game Club, where once a month we play a game in the background, come to you at the beginning of each new month, review it, and then rank it amongst the other games that we played in the series. So we played Demon Souls not too long ago, so I'm excited to see where Dark Souls ranks in comparison to where Demon Souls ranked. This is going to be a very exciting time, very good time, very, very, very excited to get there. Connor got hacked. Phil says in the Twitch chat, because we just realized Connor's Twitch account got banned because posting links that you shouldn't have been posting. Connor, you know, you're being a bad
malicious
boy.
links.
Connor, this has been quite a week for me, my friend. I've been busy, always busy, but I've made time for a little bit of Dark Souls, but also for some Power Wash Simulator 2. I'm almost done with it. I'm almost there, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see what this final level is and all of the secrets to be washed and unwashed in the final level here. But that actually brings me, Connor, to some audience two pennies. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Two Penny Gamescast, where each week me and Connor come to you with the nerdy news you need to know concerning the video game industry. We each come to you with 2 topics, 2 pennies, if you will, and we give you our 2 cents on them. You can catch this show live every Monday afternoon, twitch.tv/TwoPennyGames, where we record all of our podcasts live. So make sure you follow us on the Twitch account. But if you can't catch us live, that's okay, because we're going to post this episode every Tuesday, 8 a.m. Central Time, youtube.com/@TwoPennyGames, or mainstream podcast services of your choice. Make sure that you jump down into the description down below for different links to social medias and to our TikTok account and a bunch of other accounts. My dog is just going brazy in the background.
Crazy.
Anyways, but
What's that mean?
that, of course, that it's crazy, Connor, but you put the B in.
I wonder where that came from.
Right. Connor, we're, of course, going to our audience 2 pennies because, of course, if you drop a comment down below, we will respond to it the following week in any of the videos or Instagram, TikTok, anywhere. If you drop a great comment, we're going to respond to it. And this one comes from a YouTube short, The Best Game This Decade, that, of course, was talking about Power Wash Simulator 2, the best game this decade, Connor. AVP Ultraman XX9 says, I feel like if the fun comes from watching movies while you play, it's more like manually adding a Subway Surfers montage to the bottom of the screen. And to you, I say, good sir, you've never consumed content that is like relaxing enough to like have multimedias happening at the same time? Listen, that's a positive. That's a positive. I can go, you know how many episodes of The Rookie, Nathan Fillion's The Rookie, I've watched in the last few weeks while playing Power Wash Simulator? I'm in season 4 of The Rookie, all right? You think I would have watched 4 seasons of The Rookie if I wasn't playing Power Wash Simulator 2? No, I wouldn't have fucking watched 4 seasons of The Rookie, all right? I would have played other video games, but I'm playing Power Wash and having a great time. And I'll tell you, sir, I played the majority of Power Wash Simulator 1 just podcasts, not throwing another thing on, all right? Or music. That's the beauty of it. It's a multimedia game. You do something to keep your hands and your brain active, but in the background, you have something else playing. Just to kind of
describing,
if you've got a backlog of TV that you don't really care about, some slop that you got to get through, if you want to listen to an album, if you want to get through a podcast, you know, listen. There's a lot of media out there. There's a lot of stuff, and it's impossible to keep up with all these things. But you, of course, want to take the opportunity to do 2 things at once if you can. Connor, go ahead and counter me with your simpleton-ass monkey brain.
Well, that's the thing, Tavin. You're the simpleton-ass monkey brain.
How am I the simpleton? I'm able to handle multimedia things at once.
First of all, First of all, the reason why you're saying I can handle multimedia stuff multiple times is because this guy hit it on the head. It's the equivalent of people who watch TikTok videos but can't focus on the video itself, so they got to have that other element that makes them go and have drool coming out the side of their mouth. This guy is pinpoint accurate. Do you know why, Tavin? Because you beat your own argument with how you argued it. Your whole entire the benefit of doing this thing while playing Power Simulator 2 while watching something is so you can watch The Rookie. That's your big. Oh, I was able to watch The Rookie.
I wasn't gonna watch The Rookie otherwise. But I would have played. Here's the thing. I was not gonna watch The Rookie otherwise, but I was gonna play Power Wash Simulator 2 regardless. All right.
And the reason why you chose The Rookie is because it's brain dead, just like you when you play two things at the same time. It requires brain dead brain activity, which means that you're dead. That's what that means.
But
you
not
have no
with
brainwave
Power
activity,
Wash.
you're dead. It is, because that's why Power Wash Simulator isn't as great as you say it is, because you have to have something else, whether it's a podcast or music. It seems like with how much you glaze at Tavin and always having something online, it seems like you need to have
Connor,
that.
it's just because you're incapable of receiving two different stimuli at the same time. Yeah. Your dumbass always the number of times I walk into your room, you're sitting here like this playing Dark Souls.
Exactly.
And I'll come in.
That's a game that requires you to focus and engage with it rather than Power Wash Simulator 2. You can't engage with it. You do labor. It's physical labor.
I'm not done.
Go ahead.
All right. The number of times that I've sat there or I've walked in and you go looking like a brain dead vegetable. All right. And I come in, hey Connor, I'm going to go get some food. Do you want anything? And you're sitting here. Huh? Uh-huh. I'm getting some food. Do you want anything? And you go, food? Yeah, food. I'm getting some food. Well, where are you going? I'm just going to the Whataburger across the street. Do you want anything? Oh, damn it. I died because it's a Dark Souls game and I can't pause.
Straw man. See, that's the thing. I'm engaged with the game.
Straw man.
See, this is why he has
straw
so much
man. You're gonna say straw man after you just straw man my argument?
But it's true, because you are brain dead. You have to turn on brain dead rot next to brain dead rot, and you have to say all in the meantime that one of those is actually high quality art, even though it's just brain dead rotting stuff. Because you're saying you're multimedia tasking, I guess you could call it. I do that same thing. I know when I do those things, Tavin, I do them when I'm doing a job, when I'm working, putting plants on a table, which is what I had when I had music and podcasts and books coming in. Because the thing I'm doing is just root physical labor. It is not engaging anything with me artistically. Power Wash Simulator 2 does, of course. But the very act of power washing is just you doing a job. You're just doing a job. You're not playing a game. You're doing a job more than you're playing a game, in a way.
No,
that's definitively true. That's why it's called. It actually is true, because it is called a simulator. It's not called a game that has elements of real work. It's a simulator. It's supposed to simulate the real work.
Go off, and it's just dopamine to the brain, baby. Dopamine to the brain.
Like watching the rookie. Yes, I understand that, Tavin.
Man, shout out Lucy Chen off The Rookie. Shout out.
Shout out. I know.
Also, shout out to Nyla Warren, I think is her name. Oof.
Hey, hello. You would know. You've watched 4 seasons of The Rookie.
Hello. Yeah, but she's only in 3 of them so far.
I bet your eyes were glued on her when she was on screen. Oh, no, it wasn't, because you were so busy playing another video game, also watching a show, which you can't really do both at the same time. You're only half-assing one over the other. But, take part in your delusions, Tavin. It's what keeps us human.
Now, Phil in the chat said, my ears. Was that just in response to us just yelling at each other? Or is there something going on with the audio? I'll wait 7 minutes for him to get back to us on that. Donkey Burger Bandit on the same video says, we aren't showing any love to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 this year? No.
My fault. No, we're not, because I didn't do my due diligence and do a review and talk about it more.
Fucking basement dwellers sitting here.
This guy's
talk
loser.
about a job.
No. This is an actual simulation of medieval life. It's not doing a root memory dumb job that you pay a menial to do. You don't do. You embed yourself in ancient European culture. You take part in going on drinking binges and getting drunk at taverns and having sex with whores. That's what they're called then. And I don't want to.
Do you also die of dysentery, or like
you could die of not drinking enough because it's simulating you, but in the way a video game should, not just doing a basic job that you could do right now. You can go out and get your power washing license and go do that.
All these
Kingdom Come
fucking
Deliverance
menus.
2 is a a lot of menus, but good menus, well-made menus. The UI is very good as opposed to the
ass gameplay.
Not one.
Just fucking
Not anymore, Tavin. You're talking about the first one. You're talking about the first
swing
one.
this sword and it fucking just bounces off the guy's armor and shit.
That's so cool, Tavin. Unless you have a hammer. A hammer is going to do a lot more damage. Do you know why? Because hammers are built to destroy armor. You're right, Donkey Kong Burger Bandit. I'm sorry. What are you reading?
Fox 3629 on our GTA 6 delayed short says, "Are we really surprised that GTA 6 is being delayed?" And Connor, I want to use that as a segue into our first topic of the day. Go ahead. This is going to be your first penny. Take it away, my friend.
Fuck it is. Rockstar fires employees over, quote, gross misconduct. Accusations of union busting follow suit. Thursday saw yet another Grand Theft Auto 6 delay from a May to a November 2026 release date. But last week, 40 UK and Canadian employees were fired by Rockstar Games, leading to accusations of union busting and the unauthorized sharing of information. Quote, Rockstar has just carried out the most blatant and rootless act of union busting in the history of the games industry, said Independent Workers Union of Great Britain, IWGB, President Alex Marshall. This flagrant contempt for the law and for the lives of the workers who bring in their billions is an insult to their fans and the global industry. Despite this calculated attack on workers organizing for a collective voice and to improve their difficult working conditions, the Rockstar Union remains undeterred. They will keep organizing for respect and better conditions whilst continuing to pour their blood, sweat, and creativity into games that are loved by millions, end quote. An anonymous Rockstar spokesperson responded to the IWGB statement the day before GTA 6's delay announcement through publication Bloomberg. Quote, last week, quote, last week, we took action against a small number of individuals who were found to be distributing and discussing confidential information in a public forum, a violation of our company policies, said the Rockstar spokesperson. This was in no way related to people's right to join a union or engage in union activities, end quote. The alleged misconduct reportedly took place in a private Discord chat room comprised of union members, but Rockstar claims the chat contained non-Rockstar employees, while the union counter-argues that members of the Discord channel that aren't Rockstar employees are labor organizers. Rockstar, a subsidiary of Take-Two Interactive, hasn't given specifics on what confidential information was shared. And that's kind of the big thing about this. When you say it was gross misconduct, they were sharing certain secrets. I understand for certain reasons you can't say exactly what that might be, but you can at least allude to generally what kind of stuff it was, whether it was information on things related to their engine, whether it was things about, how the game exactly is working, how it's going to play before people actually get hands-on. Either way, it emboldens your argument when you're able to give a bit more of nuance into why these firings took place. And the benefit of the union is that, the games industry is very anti-union. Rockstar would certainly be one of those people since they're set to make so much money from this GTA 6 coming out.
A studio famously that when their last big game came out, Red Dead Redemption 2, I believe it was the creative director, said he and his other writers would spend 100-hour weeks in the writing room for that game. So
I remember that, yeah. And things like that make it seem where, clearly they have activities that a union is best to deal with, such as overworking, replacing jobs with AI. And it's very common for these companies when these unions start gaining in strength, which has seemingly happened a lot more in the games industry. There was I should have included it here. The CWA, was that what they were called? It was like a big union that was formed.
California Workforce something.
Yeah, I can't remember the name, but either way, it's definitely moving in a more pro-union, pro-workers' right direction, which is good, but that's all also in the midst of massive layoffs and things like this, where it's very likely that they're trying to sabotage the ability for workers to, to unionize, to get together and be able to fight for better conditions. And not to mention, you have to look at Take-Two Interactive, which they're, of course, the big shadowy corporation who's trying to make as much money as possible. So anybody that might think, well, I always like Rockstar, they've never done me dirty. A lot of these are, pushed by the people at Take-Two Interactive, the bosses of Rockstar. And so I'm not a big fan of GTA as a franchise. part of the reason, I guess, is now because I know it's going to massively succeed, and their workers are just going to be basically made to shovel coal into a furnace, and no one's going to really argue for them because they made GTA 6. You know, that's all people are going to really focus on when the game comes out, rather than the details behind it.
You're hiding behind valid excuses, but in reality, you're just a little hipster fuck who just doesn't want to like what everybody else likes.
Not well. It is that way with GTA. As a general thing, that's not true. With GTA, I see people talk about it so much.
Oh, whatever. With the way you talk about Disney properties and Kingdom Hearts, come on, bro.
Well, those are stupid. Those are pathetic.
The whole fucking Kingdom Hearts franchise is stupid and pathetic.
Yeah, well, stupid, but not pathetic.
Yeah. Listen. Bottom line, to Rockstar's response of this, of the gross misconduct, we had to fire them because they were saying things. I don't believe you. The only ones in the chat, other than employees, were union members. I don't believe you. Like, clearly, this was an attempt to break up unions here.
And I should mention, real quick, I think I forgot to put in the article. The chat room was about like union activities.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
it
then,
wasn't just a random chat.
Then the question is, then what were they sharing that like would have required? Like, what NDA did they break? Like what content in GTA 6 is now spoiled to these however many union reps that were in the chat or whatever? Like the story just doesn't make sense. It's illogical. The stance that Rockstar is taking into this, and it's very, very upsetting. Now, this story kind of got brushed under the rug with the story of Grand Theft Auto 6 being delayed. We talked about that extensively already on the channel. There's a video up for that, so you can go check out that to see our thoughts on what it means for GTA 6, what it means for the industry, and what we would expect from GTA Online from GTA 6. But this specifically, it's like, dude, y'all are just looking for reasons for us to be upset at you. Like, at this rate, like this shouldn't have happened. This is an easy way to like get us to like dislike you as a corporation. So yeah, it's very concerning, especially when you pair it with the, as I said before, when you pair it with the stories that we got of heavy crunch coming out of the studio during Red Dead Redemption 2, which if I were a betting man, I would say were not addressed in between the two games here. But well, you know, I'm not inside those walls, so I can't tell you. We also saw, you know, Phil shared it in our news chat or whatever. There was also grumblings that morale at the studio was quite low right now. And with the firing specifically, I believe that. With the delay, maybe I would believe that, but I would, if I were someone working at a studio on a game that big, I would have, I guess it's a little bittersweet because I would have this like overwhelming feeling of relief of like, okay, great, we don't have to crunch for this date. But then I would also be like, okay, but we got to crunch for this much longer now. If crunching is happening there, which I assume it is if you know, major changes have not happened in between Red Dead Redemption 2 and Grand Theft Auto 6, which I struggle to believe that they have addressed those issues.
I will say one last thing. Since it's a private Discord chat, the best course of action I would think the union has, if they are truly telling the truth, which I do tend to believe them, is to, you know, take them to court. Because if it's all being done in a private chat where you have logs, everything is written down, and you didn't share confidential information, then you could, you know, that seems like an easy win in a court of law, where they're claiming that there was stuff that was shared in this chat room, and then when you showed there's nothing actually confidential being shown, they have to admit that, well, this does seem more like a union-busting tactic than any rational decision that was made.
It is a question of what was shared. You know, was it information or content from the game that, you know, has NDAs have been signed over, then okay, yeah. I get it. You know, a corporation's going to protect themselves in that form. If it was like things like, hey, we're getting paid at this rate and working this amount and this is not cool, then yes, still within their right as a company to do so, but those rules and laws are only instated to limit employee worker rights and they're basically rules and laws that corporations instill in order to prevent unions from happening, you know, because you limit the amount of communication that workers can have with each other and so forth. So it 100% depends what it is. And I'm with you, Connor. If they feel like they have a case, you should sue.
But even then, I guess the last thing was, in that case, if there is something they could, by law, say was confidential information, that might kill the case, even if it's not really that important. That's the caveat, as you described, of union busting.
That's a tricky thing, right? Moving on to our second topic of the day, Connor, also your final penny of the day.
Don't worry, it got happier. Square Enix announces layoffs the same day it expresses desire to replace jobs with AI.
Fuck!
Square Enix on Thursday. This is pretty bad.
God damn
Square
it!
Enix. Well, Tavin, you love AI. Well,
So
I love
much.
AI.
So much. It's
So
my favorite
why
thing.
are you not? You should be happy, Tavin. You shouldn't be sad. Be grinning from year to year. Square Enix on Thursday began its layoff of around 100 employees at its UK offices, with plans to do the same in the US, simultaneously pledging to massively replace quality assurance testers with artificial intelligence by 2027. Quote, "We are reorganizing our operations in North America and Europe to strengthen our development structure and to drive a globally integrated marketing strategy," a statement from a Square Enix spokesperson to Games Radar reads. Quote, "This was an extremely difficult decision made following careful consideration and analysis by our leadership in order to best position the group's long-term growth," end quote. The layoffs were initially unveiled in a video conference call where Square Enix president Takahashi Kiryu said the company will execute, quote, "a fundamental restructuring of the overseas publishing organization," end quote. VGC reports the number of employees, quote, "at risk of being laid off is about 140 people solely at UK offices." Simultaneously, Square Enix announced in a progress report the formation of a partnership with AI researchers at the University of Simultaneously, Square Enix announced in a progress report the formation of a partnership with AI researchers at the University of Tokyo as part of an effort to, quote, "automate 70% of QA and debugging tasks in game development by the end of 2027, end quote. Multiple companies within the gaming world have pushed for AI expansion, the most recent example being at Electronic Arts EA, where internal conflicts have reportedly broken out over the company's desire to have employees use AI to perform basic communication and train their in-house AI called Reef GPT on their own work. One laid-off QA tester said he believes that AI served as a main reason for the layoffs of 100 co-workers at Titanfall and Apex Legends developer Respawn Entertainment, which is owned by EA. The publisher behind Subnautica and PUBG Battlegrounds, named Krafton, also announced restructuring plans within the company to center its business model on AI technology. Quote, "Starting today, Krafton will automate work centered on AI and fully implement an AI-centered management system where members focus on creative activities and complex problem solving," said CEO Kim Chong-han at a Thursday press conference. Quote, "We will leap forward as a company that promotes the growth of members and expands the organization's areas of challenge through AI." I hated my reading of that article, but so it goes.
Okay, you just had to take it a little slower. You were rushing. You were rushing yourself.
I was.
You made it more difficult on yourself.
Stupid.
Listen, unionize now. Protect yourself now. It is very, very important for creatives and the workforce to protect themselves against AI as soon as they possibly can. Work with your government representatives in order to push legislation against the use of AI in terms of getting work done, because these companies will and are currently doing their best to strip people out of jobs that they could have performed well at in order to replace them with AI. So you're going to deal with a mass number of people, a incredibly large amount of people who are going to be out of work because they were replaced by AI, and there will not be a position for them afterwards, because we are leaning so heavily into this. They are leaning so heavily into this, and they are eliminating workforce at a scale that we have never seen before. If we allow them to do what they want, we are going to see unemployment rates easily in like 20, 30 percentiles, because there's no work to be done by us, because we're replacing it all. This is way different than when the Industrial Revolution happened, and we switched from buggies to cars, and we saw a mass change in jobs. These jobs still have to be done. They're just all going to be done with AI, and sure, maybe new things will crop up, but what is to stop them from saying, okay, well, we're just going to get AI to do that too? You have to legislate against the use of AI now. We have to cut it off now, because if we don't, then the genie really will come out of the bottle, and they'll do whatever they want. And I don't understand how you have a functioning economy after that. Now, maybe we just, enter the promised land and nobody has to work. That would be great, wouldn't it? But I doubt that's going to happen in our lifetime. But, we'll have to wait and see on that.
Think pessimistically, not optimistic about AI, even if there is angles you can take of how AI can be beneficial. But it's minuscule at this point.
We need to stop looking at the silver lining. We need to stop looking at the silver lining. Not even including all of the environmental hazards that the use of AI is giving us. You know, what I think I said it last week: 3 to 4 bottles of fresh water need to be used to cool down these servers per every prompt that you put into Chat GPT. If you have Chat GPT on your phone, delete it now. Do right by yourself, not only for the environment or the workforce or the fight against AI, but it's gonna dampen your critical thinking skills. It's gonna make you just a lesser human being with it. Like, I believe that in my heart of hearts. As someone who very much believes that you have to let the times be the times, AI is an existential threat to human existence. Not in the ways of, like, it's going to gain sentience and take over and Terminators are going to be everywhere. But it's just going to put us all out of work and then kill our planet and make it to where it's we will not have a habitat to inhabit if we allow AI to run amok.
The only positive side of this is that there's supposedly an AI bubble forming because decisions like this are being made where they're, so wanting to get in on the AI space that the full ramifications of it on the business side of things aren't really understood, especially because from what I understand, AI isn't as profitable as people kind of think it is. Of course, it erases jobs, which is clearly what these people are trying to do, and makes it to where you have to pay less on that side of things. But it seems like AI is just an expensive proposition in its own right. Aside from all of the reasons you just mentioned, aside from, like the ecological impacts and how it'll just affect your mind by just immediately going to AI systems as a way to ask questions about basic history or, any really information you want. Because I know, for example, there's always the AI overview that pops up on Google searches nowadays, and you never know if it's right or wrong, and it does just make it easy to say, okay, well, that's what the answer is, and then immediately log off and not really engage with it all that much. There's kind of like a different element of having to go into whatever sources you bring up and reading about it rather than just getting a shorthand summary of multiple sources compiled together that, again, could be right, could be wrong. You would have to look at those individually to know that. It's just unreliable, and you don't do yourself any favors by using it. Yeah.
And it's so frustrating that this is the story that is going to haunt our lives for the next, 3 years. Until something happens, until we get a certain somebody out of the White House, this is just what we have to deal with forever. And it's not all on America. This is a worldwide thing. But
it is. It's the U.S.
current
oligarchy
administration
that
is definitely not going to help us.
No, I mean, they're buddy-buddy with a lot of the pushers of AI. So, yeah, it's just not going to be good.
Just, ugh.
Speaking of the U.S. government and video games, which are more linked than you might think, unfortunately.
Here we go. Moving into our third topic of the day, my first penny of the day. EA and BioWare, quote, remain committed to next Mass Effect game amid Saudi Arabian buyout. On In7 Day last Friday, BioWare releases its yearly blog post to commemorate the day to assuage? What is this word, Connor?
Assuage.
Assuage? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. All right. I know this word. I just don't know if I've ever read this word, or I'm just
like soothe fears.
Yeah. Or I'm just having a brain fart and being stupid. Assuage fan fears that the game remains in development amidst EA buyout by Saudi Arabia's private investment fund, alongside private equity firm Silver Lake and Affinity Partners. Quote, like you, we've heard the rumors lately, the post from executive producer Mike Gamble partly reads. Quote, you've made it clear you care deeply about what's next, so let's start by setting the record straight. The next Mass Effect game is in development, and EA and BioWare remain committed to telling more stories in this universe. The truth is, the last few years have been an incredibly busy time at BioWare, but currently the team is heads down and focused exclusively on Mass Effect. We have a lot of universe to cover, lots of features to build, and lots of romances to figure out. We're excited by what we're building, and we promise you, when we're ready, it'll be a lot of fun to show. In7 Day would also see the release of a teaser trailer for the franchise's untitled entry that depicts a masked figure in a variant of the fictional In7 armor walking into an unknown environment. In the same post, Gamble emphasized its Mass Effect TV series in collaboration with Amazon was still underway. Quote, the writer's room is going strong, and we've got a lot figured out about how it fits within the Mass Effect canon and where it sits in respect to the new game. The show will explore a brand new story within the universe's timeline and will be set after the original trilogy. It won't be a retread of Commander Shepard's story, but after all, that's because after all, that's your story, isn't it? Okay, if you want to take that perspective, that's valid. The acquisition, spearheaded by Saudi royal family, would see EA and its subsidiaries go private in the $55 billion deal, foretelling layoffs to come, as Bloomberg reporter Jason Schreier describes the impact of the $20 billion debt EA will take on to finance the purchase of the company. Quote, the leveraged buyout will be financed by a staggering $20 billion of debt, which likely means some aggressive cost-cutting is ahead for EA in the coming months and years, Schreier writes on Blue Sky. Founder and owner of Affinity Partners Jared Kushner, son-in-law of U.S. President Donald Trump, has close ties to the Saudi government, much like his father-in-law. In Trump's first term, Kushner was responsible for facilitating a $110 multi-billion dollar. Is it multi-billion if you just say 110? That's how many billions it is.
Yeah, I remember when I was writing it, I said I was going to do some multi-billion, but I was like, I'll be specific, and then I forgot to erase the multi.
Right, there we go. $110 billion weapons deal. Sorry, I'm picking apart. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, we're reading off of our own Substack. So Connor writes all the stories that we read on the show. So make sure you check out the Substack, link in the description down below, TwoPennyGamesNews.substack.com.
Long-time viewers would see
yourself. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say long-time viewers would know I write them. I do not edit them. Okay. $110 billion weapons deal with Saudi Arabia during Trump's first term. After Trump's term concluded, Kushner's Affinity Partners would accept $2 billion from the PIF, which is owned by Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Kushner defended the deal, saying, quote, if you ask me about the work that we did in the White House for my critics, what I say is point to a single decision that we made that wasn't in the interest of America. There's a lot of decisions that you make that are not in the interest of America and just in the interest for the Trump family. But that's beside the point. Another thing beside the point, famously, the Saudi Arabian government killed a journalist, a U.S. Citizen named Jamal Khashoggi. They chopped him into pieces and then, shipped him off to different places. And even the CIA, which, again, is the arm of the U.S. government, and the U.S. government is very much in bed with Saudi Arabia, even they came out and said, yeah, he probably did kill that guy. And other agencies did as well. Trump, of course, did nothing. And more importantly, when Kushner was asked in the same kind of interview about, hey, what do you think about that? He was like, are we really still doing this? Or something like that. So, it shows you how vapid and disgusting people like him and his father and father-in-law and father as well are. And yeah, I guess to get back to it, I don't think it's going to come out, right? That's not our concern. Isn't that Mass Effect's going to come out? It's that how is it going to come out? You don't think so, Tavin?
Connor, I think there's a very fair shot that BioWare doesn't exist in the next 3 years.
BioWare maybe, but Mass Effect's a different thing.
I guess. I mean, we'll see. Like, the Mass Effect that they're working on right now, I don't know if that comes out in the next couple of years. I would like it to. I'm a huge Mass Effect fan. I love Mass Effect. I would love to see the franchise return and sort of recapture some of the glory of the original trilogy days. And listen, the word that they're saying, hey, we're working on it. Yeah, sure, that excites me. I'm glad you're working on it. And I believe you will be working on it everybody's working on it, right? There was also some images shown where very Krogan focused. There seemed to be like a heavy influence that a Krogan civil war was gonna take place in this next Mass Effect, which I think that's some interesting ground to tread if something to that scale is going to happen. And I think it kind of makes sense with where the galaxy is left off after the events of the original trilogy. I think you have a lot of very big galaxy widespread questions to answer of if you're doing after the original trilogy, what is that gonna look like? And then of course, the Amazon TV show after the original trilogy. Okay, that's a choice. I don't hate that choice, but
that's fan service stuff basically.
You're gonna have to. I feel like you're making it harder on the showrunners because you got to do a lot of legwork to justify every choice you make. Because the choices done in the original trilogy are too grand and too expansive that like you have to say what Shepard did. And at that point, if you have to do that much legwork, wouldn't it just be more interesting to just show us what Shepard did?
Or do something that's not after the events of the Mass Effect trilogy. There's tons of stuff that happened beforehand that are alluded to.
Yeah. Or alongside it. I don't know. Like it doesn't have to be the same thing, we could still do the Reaper War, but from somebody else's perspective, like that's fine too. So yeah, I have a lot of questions about that and how you're going to justify that. But of course, always interested, always down for more Mass Effect. Very excited to hear that they're going to keep going. Very hopeful that they're going to keep going. EA, big layoffs are coming, and you're going to see teams get shuttered. And I don't think BioWare's like the current state of where BioWare is, what Dragon Age the Veilguard did, what Anthem did, what Mass Effect Andromeda did. That's 3 flops in a row. You know, you can debate on the quality of the games individually, but that's 3 financial flops in a row. And that's very, very upsetting and very telling as to where EA is going to cut next. And I don't have a lot of hope for BioWare. Like, optimistically, I hope everything's fine, but like that, like I think we're seeing the beginning of the end of one of the most legendary game studios of all time. And that's heartbreaking to even think about.
It's very, very possible, but I just don't see on the Saudi side of things, when they're making an acquisition like this, and the investors' side of things, when they're looking at what EA owns, why would they not think to themselves, well, one of the bigger named ones is BioWare, is Mass Effect, whatever you want to, whatever they would say they care about the most. Since they're going to be owning it, they're kind of past failures. They can kind of sweep that aside and say, well, now we're in charge. We're making the decisions, so it's going to be different. And so they don't maybe necessarily feel the need to just completely get rid of something like BioWare. My more concern is with the smaller studios that don't have any kind of name recognition that doesn't benefit them in any way. So you just, when you're trying to save money to, due to the fact that you're going to be in debt, those smaller ones I see are going to be the ones that are going to get axed. And the big ones are going to be the ones that the reason why Saudi would buy this in the first place are going to continue to be existent, even though layoffs will, of course, massively happen in those areas as well. I don't think the studios themselves are going to disappear as much, well, at least BioWare. I'm giving them too much benefit of the doubt because they are just trying to save money. They're getting in bed with Saudi Arabia, so moral scruples aren't really a thing that they probably consider that much about anything.
I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, it's
Connor,
out of our hands.
Before the show, you also theorized that they might be selling off some IP in order to kind of combat that $20 billion debt that they've got hanging over their heads. I mean, I could see a couple of IPs going away and the rights to several franchises, moving on to different publishers and so forth. I think Dragon Age is one of them. Mm-hmm. I don't think Mass Effect is one of them. And of course, contracts and deals that they have with the sports game studios and Madden and, football clubs and things like that. Like, I think those are going to be staying in place. The NHL contracts, of course, like I think all of that's going to be the same. But we'll see, and it just doesn't feel like there's a bright future ahead for EA as a whole, but also just BioWare on the smaller scale.
Yeah, and this deal's going to pass. The government, U.S. government, because of its connections with Jared Kushner and Trump himself in Saudi Arabia, they're going to, they're probably going to talk about how great it is if they even commented on it at all, or whichever member of the administration is going to be used as the guy giving the speech about how great it is that we're going to fire people.
Connor, have I ever told you who my favorite Mario brother is? Moving on to topic number 4, our
Mario
second penny of the day. Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra delayed beyond early 2026. Following Skydance Games' delay of its Black Panther / Captain America game Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra to 2026 last May, the working title is pushed back yet again. Quote, at Skydance Games, our goal is to deliver unforgettable premium games that honor the characters and works we're fortunate to work with, reads the X, formerly Twitter, announcement post. Quote, Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra is an ambitious project, and we are committed to ensuring it meets the level of quality that our team and players and fans expect. Quote, to fully realize our vision for Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra, we've made the decision to shift our release window beyond early 2026. We're grateful for the passion and support from the community and players around the world. The team is working hard to create something truly special, and we look forward to sharing more with you as the development progresses. The announcement comes shortly after the delay of Grand Theft Auto 6 from May 2026 to November of the same year. The inevitable impact of the household title has led other developers to shift their own games' release dates to avoid competing with what is expected to be the highest-grossing entertainment product of all time. Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra is a interesting, is a narrative-focused action-adventure game set in World War II with 4 playable characters as they combat the fictitious villain organization Hydra in occupied Paris. This is, of course, the game where you play as Captain America and Black Panther mainly, and then you play as one of the like Black Panther elite squad, and you just play as like a soldier from the Howling Commandos Captain America unit. And so this is not the Black Panther game that I believe EA canceled last year. And so this is also Amy Hennig's game. Amy Hennig famously did the first 3 Uncharted games, which kind of brought them the mass amount of fame, and worked with Naughty Dog for a lot of years, and then has been kind of bouncing around ever since from publisher to publisher, studio to studio, trying to develop games, and all of them getting canceled and shut down, which has been, I'm sure, extremely frustrating. So hopefully this one makes it to market. I don't have a lot of personal faith in this one either, but if we're a year out, then ideally, like, we're too far along to not put it out. Now, what is the quality going to be? I don't know. The trailers have been fantastic and cinematic and highly detailed and animated beautifully and look fantastic in that way. We have not seen a shred of gameplay for this game. And if you had told me, hey, it got delayed, I would have said, did we have a year? Did we have when did it get delayed from? Because I don't even know what to expect from this game of when we're going to get it. Like, I don't know what to expect from this game. And I think that's a big problem. Alongside, the name sucks. Alongside, I don't think its game pitch is like concise enough to give a vision as to why players would care. Jumping around as different characters, half of them are not superheroes. That's a hard thing to spin and make that feel good or interesting at all. So yeah, we might be doing too much with this title.
Again, you could see those characters be very specific in what they do, whereas Captain America and Black Panther are going to be, you're going to go into the combat sections, and you're going to be doing all the Black Panther, Captain America cool shit. And the other ones are going to be more stealth-related gameplay, maybe some other aspect of game that we aren't really foreseeing, because, again, we haven't seen, like, really anything from this game, so...
Because, Connor, everyone's favorite part of Spider-Man games are when you're not playing a Spider-Man.
Well, that's the thing. It's not; those games aren't centered around playing with another character that's not Spider-Man. So when it comes into play, it's like, why am I playing this character now? Whereas at this one, it's very clear. It's from the get-go. These are the 4 main characters. You just recognize 2 of them because they're big superheroes.
We'll see.
We will see.
But like also like, are you like spreading yourself too thin in the gameplay department? Like,
yeah.
Now that you're committing to 4 pillars of gameplay, are all 4 of those pillars going to feel good? Are any of them going to feel good? Are only Captain America and Black Panther going to feel good and the other 2 are going to feel like crap? Or, you know, when I throw Cap's shield and it bounces around and comes back to me, I have a vision for how that feels in my head. I think Marvel's Avengers did an all right job with it, but you want it to feel like as satisfying as throwing the axe in God of War is, right? Like, that's how satisfying it should feel when it lands back in your hand, right? How can you zero in on that and make that feel good when you are also having to develop 3 other playstyles, dramatic playstyles in the game? So like, either all of them are going to feel good enough, or they're all going to feel like, just not exactly what I'm looking for. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So or a mix in between of some sort. You know, we'll have to see when the game comes out. Connor, do you believe this game is coming out next year?
I think it is. I think it's too, well, okay. Perfect Dark. I always think of that whenever a game is seemingly going to come out. It's got a relatively hard line release date or at least window. And, you know, that one has the benefit of we saw gameplay and it looked good.
Perfect Dark really is the modern Scalebound, isn't it?
Yeah, that's apt because it just kind of was like, okay, I guess they canceled it. I guess something didn't go right. But I mean, with so many layoffs and dumb decisions being made by the games industry, I just can't say that confidently it's going to come out. Especially because I understand the delay is, okay, you had a game that you delayed to a certain year, and then maybe you realized after the fact that, oh, well, we actually needed a little bit more time. It was a premature delay. Of course, you have Grand Theft Auto coming into play. What did that do there? Either whatever you could say to, you know, justify why they reasonably might have done the delay. It's only just guessing at this point. You know, this is a chaotic world we're living in, and so anything could happen.
I'm exhausted.
I love talking about this stuff.
It's just exhausting, man. Like, And it's only gotten worse. When we started this podcast, it didn't always feel like this. Like, yeah, we had conversations about like things sucked, this, that, and the third, you know? Remember when our biggest concern was how ugly the brutes looked in Halo Infinite?
I remember that was one of the. I was like, these don't look that great. I don't really like them that much. And now here we are.
I was like, all right, you know, it doesn't look good, you know. But now here we are. We're just sitting here going, I don't see how any of this is gonna last another decade, man. And I'm sure it will. Video games make way too much money for it to not. But yeah, I think there's so much. Like, player expectations have never been higher for video games, and it's just unsustainable. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. It's hitting me all of a sudden. I'm trying to mitigate that as much as possible. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, let us know what you think down in the comments below. We're gonna cut this one a little early because it's just a repetition of last week. It feels like for a lot of these things. AI evil. Stop laying off people. Video games are coming and they don't look great. You know, we'll see. You know, we will see. Connor, do you even think Marvel? What is this game called? God, this game's got a terrible title. 1943, Rise of Hydra.
You do the subtitle later.
What is your temperature on this game? What is your temperature on this game?
I have no temperature because I've barely seen shit. The reveal trailer was cool, but
the trailers have been great. Or the cinematics that they've shown have looked awesome.
That's nothing though. At the end of the day,
nothing.
So it's
What is the game? How is it structured? How does it play? I don't know. We're gonna find out. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, you can get this show every Tuesday, 8 a.m. Central Time, youtube.com/@TwoPennyGames or mainstream podcast services of your choice. Make sure you follow us on twitch.tv/TwoPennyGames, where every Monday afternoon we go live and record all of our shows. Make sure that if you haven't already, that you put Dark Souls in the back of your mind. If you're thinking about joining us for the Two Penny Game Club, that review will happen December 1st, I believe. I looked at it earlier. Yep, December 1st. Yep. We will be reviewing Dark Souls, and so I'm very, very excited for that. Check us next week. I believe we are going to be doing a Dispatch review next week.
We will be.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe and check in for that. And I believe all three of us will be on the panel for that one. And of course, until next time, have a great time. And Connor, say goodbye to the people.
Bye.